Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you, Leslie?
Good. I love that hairstyle.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So kind. I was always told I couldn't pull it off, and then when I finally did, I was like, I love this. I don't know why I waited so long.
My hair
Okay,
is
can you
naturally
hear?
curly, so if it's yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, is this better or is this one better? Which one sounds better to you?
Where you're at right now sounds good.
This one's better?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. Try this. Is that? Because I can't hear you in my. Let's see. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Is it worse though?
No. No, can you
Is it
hear
is
me
it
okay?
okay? Yeah,
Yeah.
I can.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
no, we're good to go.
So you're saying you have naturally curly hair?
Yeah, and so if it's like around my shoulders, it looks like a poodle. So
Yeah.
I always had this idea that either I needed to keep my hair long or I needed to cut it short because of my
Mm,
curls.
yeah.
And I used to want to do like that shaved part. But
Yeah.
I was always too scared. So
I know. It is. It's a commitment.
yeah. Yeah.
You're
So you
kind of
guys, we have Dana
breaking in and
Parker.
out a little bit. Let's
I
see.
am.
Yeah, just can you hear me okay? Am I breaking out?
No, you sound good.
Okay. All
And
right.
you're in.
Okay. Hopefully it'll balance out. All right.
I don't know if
Calling all
this,
technology angels.
right?
Yeah.
So we have Dana Parker with us. And Dana, tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I am a life coach and transformational speaker. I am here to help people about emotional resiliency. It's a huge part of what I do. I'm also a Reiki master, certified in hypnosis. Those are the areas that I just felt like I felt really drawn to help people in an all over healing. So I believe the emotional aspect, the mental aspect, the spiritual aspect are all really important to address when it comes to our healing and our processes of this journey of healing through past traumas, generational things. And so I'm here just to really help people move forward, lighten their load, and live the life they were born to love.
Yeah. How would you explain what is emotional resilience? How do you
Emotion,
describe that?
yeah, to me, emotional resiliency is the ability to bounce back from really hard emotional experiences, whether it be things from the past that we've buried for a really long time. Like that's what put me and set me off on my journey. Is I had buried childhood sexual abuse for a really long time, and at 23, it all came up, and I didn't know what to do with it. And so and I think that's a really common story. A lot of people can relate to that. Different traumas, different things from childhood, not knowing what to do with those emotions because we're not really taught emotional education as kids, but we're highly emotional beings, you know? And so emotional resiliency really is about the ability to bounce back and to process through hard experiences that we all experience. It's a common human experience to go through hard things in this life. It just is. And so teaching people, to me, those are like life skills, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I think it would be so impactful if we actually did emotional education in schools, if we
Oh,
actually, address that with children. And
incredible. I think we'd have a different world if we did that.
oh,
Big picture,
definitely.
I would love to see that happen. And I want to be a big part and a huge advocate for that as I move forward in what I'm building. So I'm with
Yeah.
you. We'll keep putting it out there.
Yeah. I've seen articles where like certain schools have allowed meditation in for kids. And I thought this is amazing.
Oh,
Move forward
yes.
with this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
My kids' schools, they've incorporated tapping. So to
oh,
help them process through things like maybe during tests or throughout the day. And I love that. I think that's been really phenomenal to watch.
oh, yeah, definitely. I've tried tapping. I enjoy it.
Me too.
Uh, what is the benefit of hypnosis? I've actually always felt drawn to learn that, but what could be the benefit for some
Ah,
to do that?
Yeah. So this is kind of how I like to explain it. The subconscious mind is where we hold all of our past experiences and the stories we made up about them. So as young children, what's really interesting is we have all these things that happen, big and small, and all these experiences that we're having, and we're constantly making meaning of the world as little kids. And we're constantly seeing and defining our part in the world and what part we play in the world. And so we make meaning of things at such a young age, and we make meaning of ourselves in this world that don't actually aren't actually true. For example, for me, the spelling bee where we had to stand up in front of everyone and you're given a word and you have to spell it in front of the whole classroom, right? Well, I would start to freeze, and I was always out very quickly. And so what the meaning I made of that when I was little is that I'm stupid. And so every single one of us does this. I don't know any humans that don't carry ideas like this about themselves. And so moving through those and really understanding where those come from, then what happens is when those emotions come up, your brain is like, what do we do with this? We don't know what to do. And so hypnosis, for me, it's been really empowering personally on my healing journey, and then helping other people to speak to the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind, you can really tap into that when you get into a relaxed state, not quite asleep, but not totally consciously awake where the ego is running so strong. You get into a relaxed state, and then you feed the pictures to your mind of what to do with those experiences and those emotions. It's also kind of a way to bypass the ego when going into healing experiences. Sometimes people don't understand what they're even carrying. And so a lot of times I'll use hypnosis to help people really intuitively tune into what they're carrying, understand how to name it and go into that, so then they can do something about it, because we can't change what we don't acknowledge. And so to me, it's one of the best, most powerful ways to speak to the mind, the subconscious mind, where we're all needing healing. And so it's been a phenomenal tool in my own personal life. It's been one of the greatest tools for my healing journey through the sexual abuse that I experienced. And it's just been, I'm really passionate about it because of my own personal healing through it. So.
Yeah, I definitely see why it would be so beneficial, because one of the things that I've talked about before is that we can try and make a decision to have a new outlook or a new belief about something, and we might put all this willpower to it. But when that willpower runs out, say 30 days later, we naturally kind of fall back to our natural state of being. And I think that's why the subconscious is so powerful, is because if you could actually tap into that and let the
Mm.
subconscious be part of changing the belief or part of that journey, then there's no falling back to this old way, because you're actually the one,
Yes.
you
Oh,
know?
brilliantly said. I totally agree. Our world does focus so much on, if we want this certain outcome, then we have to just focus on actions, and that's the willpower. I'm going to change all my actions. But what precedes the action is a thought paired with emotion, which is running from old programming from childhood, right? And so we got to get those emotions and thoughts in alignment, total alignment with what you want to take action on. And then you're right, that is actually real lasting change. At least
Yeah.
for me, that I've seen in my life, that's how I make real lasting change, is I tap into the emotions and thoughts, and I get those set before I do anything with the actions, or I guess not anything, but before I do a lot of the bulk of actions and outcomes, because this takes up so much energy. If you're fighting against programming, there's that cognitive dissonance where something's not in alignment, and there's gonna be resistance, and it's gonna be hard if you don't take care of the emotions and thoughts. So
I
yeah.
don't know if this is true, but I remember going through psychosis when I was experiencing two conflicting forces. And so to
Ah,
now, my belief of psychosis is that your ego is almost being challenged by
mhm.
a different version of reality or a different
Yes.
level of consciousness. And
Mhm.
without integrating, I think that's kind of, for me at least, where the psychosis came from. Once I
Mhm.
integrated it and made those changes, the psychosis went away, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that cognitive dissonance can feel so intense sometimes. And sometimes, honestly, I think we all go through it. I've been doing this work for 12 years. I still have my moments where things can spin, but I've trained myself to say, I'm not the thoughts I think or the emotions I feel. They're my greatest teachers. And so I'm understanding, okay, this is just a cycle that's going on in my head. I'm challenging them. I'm looking at them. I'm taking the position of the observer to look at those things, to learn, and then to let go of the things that aren't serving me, because your thoughts and emotions, oftentimes I find people are scared of them. Do you ever notice that people are
I have.
scared of those thoughts and emotions because they I think it's they don't know what to do with it, they don't even know how to name it, and then we define ourselves by our thoughts and emotions. We think that it means something about us personally. And sometimes, at least for me, when I began my healing journey at the beginning, I thought I'd get lost in all those emotions that I had stuffed for years from the abuse. I thought I was going to be swimming in it forever, and that thought alone scared me so much that it was hard to even go there. And so letting go of that fear and understanding it's a process, and we're not the thoughts we think or emotions we feel. They're our greatest teachers. Is like, it's been such a brilliant idea for me to take the position of the observer.
Yeah, I remember I actually went to therapy once. I didn't realize how common it is for humans to have certain types of thoughts, and that there was like
Yeah,
an actual meaning versus, you're just evil or dark. Cause I had one of the,
right.
I can't remember how much, but there's like supposedly so many psychological fears. And I had the one where I was scared I was evil because of thoughts. And then she was explaining how natural and human this actually was. And it
Hmm.
wasn't nearly as bad or dark as I was thinking. And so once I
Yeah.
had that reassurance, it's like, okay, this is not as scary, to understand that this is a thought, but it
Oh,
doesn't mean it's a reflection of my value, my integrity, if I'm, you
yes.
know,
Oh, I bet that was so
so
freeing. So,
yeah.
so freeing. Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. It's such a
So
great part of
what
your
brought
story.
you to, yeah, what brought you to coaching? What made you decide to start doing this for a living?
So, I think it was a combination of things. At 23 years old, I had two little boys, and I felt like I was here for something big, for something bigger than what I was doing at the time. Which at the time I was very, very bogged down and weighted by my past. And so I did a lot of emotional eating, numbing, Netflix binging, sleeping, lots of that. And I was in this cycle that I was like, I am here for something bigger. And I could feel it in my soul, something bigger than this. And so as I started opening up to inspiration, one day it was like, it felt like inspiration just hit. And I was like, I think I'm going to go back to school for speaking, public speaking, and psychology. And, that was the only thing I could actually see at the time, because I didn't really know a lot about the personal development world or the spiritual healing world. And so it was really interesting. That inspiration hit. And then through a series, within 6 months, I had this series of the most amazing events where people were brought into my life, into my world, and introduced me to different things where I felt like it was God, the universe, bringing me to these amazing, like, putting me on my path. And so I'm the kind of person too, once I start like finding things that are working for me that I love, I just want to share it with everyone. Like, everyone I meet that wants to hear it, I'm like, let me share these things with you. And so early on, I went to I was really struggling emotionally. Again, it was like I'd kept this secret, and at 23 started talking, and then this dam of emotions broke open. And I was like, I don't even know what to do with this. I was swimming in it every single day. It was like it was driving my life. So I knew I needed support and help. I did a little bit of therapy. It just wasn't feeling quite right for me at the time. And then I went to a personal development. I was invited by somebody, a very random acquaintance, and it rocked my world. And I ended up going to a 3-day event and just learning how to challenge those inner ideas, how to identify them, how to know what they are, running the programs like I'm not good enough, I'm unlovable, things like that. And it just lit this fire in me that just never went out. And I started teaching really quickly. And something about me is when I teach something, it's like it integrates better. And so I knew that that was going to be one of the best pathways for my journey of healing is teaching what I'm learning, because it integrates more within me. And then helping change other people's lives. I'm playing a small role in their healing, which is, it actually for me made the experience of abuse worth it. Does that make sense? It
Yeah.
made that worth it to be able to say, I experienced that so I could be here with other people in their deepest sorrow, their deepest hurts. And I could have total compassion and empathy in those moments. And I can help them out because I'm helping myself out. So that's where that began 12 years ago.
I just got goosebumps because
Oh,
I think that's just proof that our pain can become our power. You know,
yes.
there's beautiful things and opportunities that we end up having from these painful experiences. Like, for example, I was more compassionate and understanding and kind and sensitive after going through a lot of trauma. It allowed me to tap into being able to be more aware and recognize the beauty of earth and actually
Mhm.
experience some joy. So, and I
Ah.
often say I really don't think I would have had that had it not been for that pain, at least not that quick. I just don't.
Right.
So
I completely agree with you. I think we have a choice when we go through hard things. And I'm finding more and more people choosing that empathy and compassion and that softness of understanding for the human experience versus the hard-hearted, you know? And I think when we go through hard things, it actually is, it brings together this common humanity. It brings us together is really interesting to me. And it's one of the things I probably love the most about people who go through hard things is there's this connection that we all have is this common humanity of this is the human experience and we're all having it and we're all in it. And I like to tell people all the time, you're doing so good at this human thing. It's painful and it's messy and sometimes it's dark and sometimes it's really crazy and chaotic, but it's beautiful and glorious and wonderful all at the same time. It's really crazy. You're doing so great.
are you currently accepting clients right now?
I am, yes. I do have a few spots for the summer for people to work with. And then in September, I'm launching a group coaching program that I'm super,
Okay.
super excited about.
What could you describe what does a day working with you look like? What is a so if a client came, what is it that you guys work together on?
Yeah. So when I first meet a client, what I like to do is just spend the first session really getting to know them. What are their needs? What are the things that they're looking to improve in their life? What are the areas that are most painful? What are the areas that they feel like are they're really feeling held back in? And then from there, I like to get some of their background stories, background of their childhood, what they experienced in their childhood, maybe different memories or other experiences, because that will tell me a lot of where some of the roots of these areas that they're struggling in, the areas that are holding them back. And what's so fun is because I've been doing this for 12 years and I've worked with people all over the world, it's such an intuitive process. And so after I get their story and this background information, then I start looking at patterns that I'm noticing. And I start looking at and making a plan. Okay, we need to do some inner child healing here. I really feel some generational healing here. Okay, let's add in some personal healing from this trauma from childhood, things like that. And so I kind of make a comprehensive plan from there of, okay, these are the things that I feel like we need to cover. And then every week we refer to that, but it's also an intuitive thing. Sometimes, things can come up as people have this space that's been created where it's dedicated to their healing. They'll have stuff come up on a weekly basis that they're like, I really need to address this. This is what's coming up this week. And so it's an intuitive process. And what's so much fun for me, and this is where the company Inner World Movement comes in, that we've created, is this inner world movement is inner world healing for outer world results. to see clients come back and to say, the things we were talking about and working on are actually showing up differently in their actual life I call it soul fulfilling. Like my whole soul gets so excited to celebrate with them because it's so powerful how we are we are consciously creating all the time in our life. And so to help people get those things in alignment, let go of old things, it's a beautiful process. So I tell people plan, 1 to 2 hours, just because it's an intuitive thing, and I like to make sure it feels complete for the day. And then everyone leaves with a list, of anywhere between 2 to 5 focuses. So I really believe energy healing needs to be paired with mental and emotional connections. So people need to consciously be aware, a lot of times they need to be consciously aware of what the healing is and what they need to do now to keep that healing integrated. And so in the energy world, I've noticed a lot, there's just people go and do a session and it's like they just move the energy and do all this stuff, but there's no mental process of what they do now to have a different, different experience. And I think that is one of the things that makes me so powerful with this life coaching and energy working, is we're taking care of all of it. We're integrating it, and they're doing something different to integrate the healing for the day. So, yeah.
Sometimes I've talked to clients and it's like they've been dealing with stuff for like years, feeling unfulfilled or stressed or trauma for like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Why do you feel it takes so long for the average person to decide to actually do something about actually taking charge or pursuing healing?
Right. Well, I think there's a lot of generational patterns. We are not taught about emotions. So a lot of people, they see, oh, my parents struggled with this, or my mom struggled with that, and my dad did, and all my siblings are. So there's this normalization of the struggle, right? This is just what you have to live with. Or in my community here, it's endure to the end, right? That's the theme here in Utah, is endure to the end, which is such a fascinating thing. It's like, you just have to suffer, and hopefully in the next life, it's going to be all right, And to me, that idea of you have to suffer through this, and like, that's one of the first things I think you have to let go of, is no, I deserve better. I deserve to have more joy than pain or suffering on a daily basis. And so understanding and stepping out of the normalization of suffering and pain, and this is just normal, saying, no, I don't want that. That's the first step. And, I think from there, there's lots of reasons I think people get comfortable, because I do have to say, as I started my healing journey, relationships change, because your tribe of people who maybe you're suffering together, it won't fit anymore as you're healing. Your vibration rises, and if they're not on their journey, they're going to stay about the same where they're at, maybe even, might even go lower, a little higher, up and down. But those that are on a consistent journey of healing, which I tell people, this isn't like a one-stop shop, you're done kind of a thing. Healing is a process and a lifelong commitment to working through your stuff, because more stuff will happen. And so it's a journey to me of, I'm ever growing, ever expanding. And so I think that's one of the first things, is the normalization, stepping out of that. The second is they have to know that there's something else. They have to have tools. They get into a place where, like, I don't even know what to do with this. I don't even know if there is anything. It's not even a thought or an idea. And so I think those two things make it harder for people to stay in it for a long time. And, there's 2 reasons why people change. One, they're in so much pain. And I think over years, 10 plus years of it, you're in so much pain. You're like, I'll do anything. I'll do anything to get past this. Or they have a burning desire, which I think pain can create a burning desire too. I know it did for me, but yeah, that's what I would say so far. That's what I've seen.
That was my first one, is I became so desperate. It was like,
Yeah.
I just want heal so bad. It didn't matter what it took. I just had to heal. And I did. I noticed that that pain had become part of my identity. I didn't understand
Yes.
who I was without it. So I was scared to
Yeah.
kind of and it did. It changed everything around me. And at the time, it felt very stressful.
Yeah.
But once it actually changed and I got kind of out of that transition, everything started falling into place in such a beautiful
Yeah.
way. I got so much healthier, so much quicker. And I
Oh
realized
yeah.
I was not as bad as I thought. It was way more
Yeah.
peaceful. The
Yeah.
scariest part was just letting things change. It was just getting out and letting things unfold. That was the scary part. After that,
Oh
it was like, this is great. It was worth it.
yeah.
So
Beautifully
I
said.
think,
So beautifully said. I agree. I totally agree.
I, yeah, I think that initial step is what can be difficult for people. What would be your advice? What's one thing a person could do today to kind of promote their healing journey or to try and get that started?
Yeah, honestly, what's so funny is my answer today would have been different than it was 6 months, a year, 5 years ago. And today, I would say creating a safe space for yourself to feel. That to me, when you create a safe space, you are your safe space to feel that you give yourself permission to feel. And feeling is healing. Feeling and working through that and a commitment to let go is healing. And there has to be that safe space. If you resist your negative emotions, you're going to numb. And when you numb negative emotions, you numb the positive too, because you can't selectively numb emotions. You're numbing all of them. And
Yeah.
so I would say one of the greatest resources that I have loved is Kristen Neff. Kristen Neff's work on self-compassion. She has a great website called self-compassion.org. It has free practices, free meditations. Practicing self-love, what it's going to do for you is it's going to actually create confidence in yourself, that you have your back, that you have you, and that you love you. And that regular practice for that then creates a space of safety for yourself to then have emotions come up. And what I like to tell people, especially if you're new to allowing emotions and if there's any resistance, set a timer. That's what I used to do because I was scared to dive in and I was scared I was going to get lost in it. And so I'd set a timer and, however long I decided, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever. And I'd say, okay, I'm going to allow myself to feel for this amount of time about this topic that I know I'm carrying. And then after that timer's up, I'm going to take some deep breaths. I'm going to love myself, give myself loving compassion for that and celebrate. And then I'm going to move on with my day and I'm going to shelf the rest. So I mentally, remember, the subconscious mind sees in pictures. So I mentally created this shelf where I'd put everything. It's like, I'll come back to you later. I love you. Thank you. It's not time to feel all that right now. I'm going to go on with my day. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to get my positive music going, get all the positive things going in my life because I took time to feel today. And
Yeah.
I would say that's probably the biggest thing, that self-compassion and then taking time. I actually schedule time for me to feel. And I have playlists that help me get into the deep emotions, the sad,
Yeah.
it's so important for us to allow that.
I have been recently working. There's one particular fear that I have avoided, even in my own journey of healing and teaching and mentoring. There's one spot that was
Yeah.
directly tied to kind of part of my psychosis. I was scared to go back to that place. I have a 3-year-old. And I thought, what if
Yes.
my mind or something? Well, I started working
Yes.
with it and I noticed I felt this fear rise up to my chest. And I
Mhm.
realized this was that fear when I was a child that I wasn't able to handle. And I had kept
Oh,
repressing and I could feel it. And I just remember I started crying because I could tell that this fear was from the childhood time.
it gives me chills.
Yeah. And it was kind of amazing because it was the first time that I said, it's okay to come
Yeah.
up. It's okay to just be here.
Oh,
I'd never said that
yay.
to start. It was
Oh,
intense.
chills everywhere on my whole
Yeah, I
body.
felt
That
so
is
much.
so beautiful, so powerful. That
It
that
was.
is one of the most beautiful stories and so true. And I have those too. And I've been doing this for a long time. I have those spaces that come up that I'm like, "Whoa, I had no clue that that was there." Or, one of those places is anger for me. Anger was one of those like you're not allowed to feel that. So I've been really
Right.
working on that personally too. We're all in it, we're all on it, and it's important to normalize too. This is a lifelong journey. Even though we teach people, even though we're helping people, we're still on our journey too. And
Right.
that's such a beautiful story. Congratulations. That's
Oh,
huge.
yeah,
That's
I was
gonna
pretty.
inspire a lot of people, Leslie. I
Oh,
love
thank.
that. Thank you so much for sharing that with me.
Oh, thank you. No, I appreciate you
Mm.
being here. Anger was a hard one too. We I came from a very strict Baptist home. And so
Yeah.
like anger was only the parent allowed to be angry. And I
Hmm.
remember always arguing with myself of why I shouldn't be angry about something. I'd make
Yes.
excuses. Oh, well, they didn't really mean it. They don't understand. And at the time I didn't realize I was pretty much invalidating my feelings by
Yes.
constantly making excuse of why it wasn't I shouldn't be mad, couldn't be mad. So
Yes. Oh, this is so good. And those of you that are listening to this, I think that's such an important key to look at is at any moment when you're feeling emotions, do you ever tell yourself I shouldn't be feeling this way? And really see what's there. Why? Why shouldn't I be feeling this way? What's the worst part about feeling this way? What do I feel like it means about me when I feel this way? Those questions, and write those down. Go back and rewind it and write those things down, because those are going to be your greatest friends to help you recognize what's at the root. And that's so powerful, because I think every person listening, if you really pay attention, we all do that at one point or another. We all tell ourselves we shouldn't. And it comes from childhood. I mean, how many of us expressed a type of emotion and were told to stop or spanked, and sent to our rooms? Like it's not okay to feel that. I think most of us humans have experienced that at one time or another. And so that program is there and it's running, and just taking that time to allow it, it's so so powerful. And to allow yourself to express in those ways. It's been a challenge for me to allow myself to express anger, to express that emotion in an angry way, because growing up, anger is what hurt me. It's anger, other people's anger taken out on me, was as a little empath that was super sensitive. It was
yeah.
really hurtful. And so I was always afraid of hurting other people. And so I created strategies for myself to really feel that. And it's actually been fun. It's been a fun experience to be like, wow, that was intense anger that just came out. But I'm doing it in a healthy way. I'm taking it out, at the gym, or I'm taking it out. I actually, one time, can I tell you a story? When I first started this, I took one of those big old box TVs out in the middle of nowhere and just took a bat to it, just to get it out, just to say, I allow myself to feel anger. It's just a feeling. I don't have to be afraid of it. It doesn't mean anything about me. And there were several times in that session where I allowed myself to say and speak whatever I wanted, and I got chills all over my body. There was just a huge release from that experience. So it's been really powerful to address some of those things, and I've loved it. It's been a good journey.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree that thank you for sharing that. And I agree that
Yeah.
any personal thing like that, it really is powerful, because I feel like energetically we begin to change. So now we have a whole different energy coming on. And so we began not to attract the same type of experiences over and over again, because we're no longer,
Yes.
you know,
Oh,
like anger was one I didn't have. So when I got out of my house, I turned around and got married to somebody where he was allowed to be angry and I was not. I get like,
right.
so it's like it kept showing up until I took
Yeah.
care of it. You know,
Yes, that's how it works. That is the most fascinating part about this inner work that you and I feel so passionately about, is the world around us is consistently showing us what's calling for love and healing within us. And if we're aware enough to ask questions and say, ooh, why is this showing up for me? What's calling for love and healing within me? And to work through those things start showing up differently. and start changing. And to me, it's been one accountability at that level, that everything around you, you're not asking other people to change, you're going within first. Because when you go within and you do the healing and then you set boundaries, that's way more healthy. That's such a healthy pattern to communicate. Because if you make it so that everyone else has to change so you feel good, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be a rough life because we can't control anyone else. And they're showing us, they're a gift, showing us what's calling for love and healing. If we can utilize that gift, it's powerful.
I think that could be like one of the major changes that you could experience in a relationship, like an intimate relationship. If we were more aware that instead of changing our spouse, it was more about seeing where it shows up in our own life, healing our own wounds. I think that could have really changed divorce rates had we understood from a long, had more people understood longer ago that this was so effective.
I am 100% in agreement with you on that. And parenting. Our children are some of our greatest mirrors. Greatest mirrors, especially the ones that are most irritating to us. If we can utilize that and say, okay, what is this child showing me? And often what's so powerful about that, if you will do that, if you'll utilize your marriage and your children, you will have some of the most incredible relationships of your life. And I'm speaking from my own personal experience because I utilize these tools, because that is how I approach motherhood. That's how I approach my intimate relationships. I really am experiencing some of the most incredible relationships I've ever had in my life. And I've had to let some go. I recently got a divorce, and it's one of those things where we grew apart, and it was what it was. Because I think that's not the only thing. I got married at 19. I didn't know myself. I didn't know what I wanted or who I was. So I think that's an important aspect too. But to take that accountability, even though it's hard, because I want to speak to that. It is so hard some days to take that kind of accountability because you want them to change. But if you go within you first, if you consistently do that and face those shadows, face that pain, that hurt, the inner healing that's just calling for that love, you will have an incredible experience. And then your boundaries will be more healthy. They'll be more real. And they'll be working with your children, working with your significant other. And that, to me, you're setting yourself up for long-term success in a relationship like that.
Yeah. I actually am signing up for conscious parenting. I'm taking a course because I catch myself. I still catch myself using that's good, that's bad, don't do this, I'm going to go to timeout, and don't throw a fit. Why are you throwing a fit? Can you please quit crying? You've been crying for 10 minutes. And I catch myself doing that. And I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, that this is, it hurts, that's not. And then that caused a cycle of, I'm not doing good enough. So I thought, what? I'm taking a class. I'm going to have someone be accountability partner just to help me through this process. Because I was watching my daughter play. She was in the bathtub playing with her toys, and she was reenacting her perception of life. She was telling the toys, you're going to get in trouble, go to timeout. I said, stop. And I thought, oh my God, this is me. Like she's kids show what they see. Yeah. And I thought, this is not okay. Because I know the importance, but as a 3-year-old, I still get frustrated, and I catch myself doing that. So then there's a lot of apologizing. I'm sorry. It's absolutely okay to feel this, but I want to get to the point where I'm not having to apologize constantly. Let's just do something about it. So I'm going a different route.
I'm so excited for you. Yeah. That is so exciting. I love conscious parenting, and I think that's an incredible, incredible thing. And your kids are so lucky. You're so lucky to have you. And it's something I highly recommend. And that's beautiful. Oh, I love it, Leslie. You're such a wonderful person. I love this.
Thank you.
This is so fun. You're just so real, and it's refreshing.
Yeah. It's taken a while to get here to express it.
I know.
You're public speaking now. Did you ever think that you'd be doing that? Was speaking easy for you as a child?
No, actually. For some reason, as a child, I was super shy. And I had a few impactful experiences being in front of people. A talent show was one of them that I remember, and being in front of people and being embarrassed because I did something wrong. And so that actually was brought into, as I started speaking to groups of people, I felt that. And so that's where I started creating some new rules for myself as an individual for the inner game of speaking, to make sure that I'm looking at those things and working through those things, and that I'm supporting myself. So it's been such an amazing journey, but I do love speaking. There's something about it, even from the beginning when I started at 23. I was a different person, and I really loved it. I love expressing with my whole heart. I love, sharing different ideas with a group of people. I love the group synergistic healing. There's nothing like it. I mean, one-on-one sessions are amazing, but group healing is transformational. And to see it happen right before your eyes, to me, it's like the most sacred space you could be with anyone. And it's so, so amazing. It's like a space where I feel at home. I feel like I was born to do it. When I'm in it, it's like all of this amazing energy, wisdom, information just flows through me, and I'm connected to the hearts of people. And one of my can I share one of my most favorite moments?
Yeah.
I was teaching a couple of years ago. I was teaching the power of play, the importance of play as adults, and it's amazing. There's play researchers. They research the importance of play and all of the benefits of play. And I got a group of about 300 people to dance and sing at the top of their lungs, Don't Stop Believing. And it was so much fun. We had wigs and guitars and blow up things and balls. And it was so much fun to see a group of grown adults just playing and having so much fun. So it's a challenge to be in front of people, but that's where that self-compassion and that understanding for myself, and that it's okay that I'm human, and even admitting in front of people and just laughing about it. My mom was incredible that way. She taught me how to laugh at myself and to laugh with other people. And so those have been things that have really helped me. And I still get nervous, but it's one of those places and spaces that I'm like, I was born to do this. And I love what can happen with a group of people. So
I've noticed that people's callings, it's like the exact opposite of what you would ever think. And I'm beginning to think that it's on purpose to help inspire growth of, this is actually what you're born to do. But since you don't think you would ever do that, there's no way, I was always shy. There's no way I could teach. But once you realize that's what it is, it inspires all this growth. It gives you a reason of the, to do this. And so I have a feeling that it's designed like that on purpose,
Yeah.
For the growth
so
part,
well said. And the growth part is so much fun and so challenging all at the same time. Like speaking has really challenged every part of me. I used to have such a hard time even watching myself speak or watching myself on a video recording. And now, like, I've watched several of the podcasts that I've done. I've watched myself, and I love it. It's like, I love who I am. I love that person talking. She's so cute. She's just doing so great. I love it. So it's fun to see the growth.
Yeah. When I would hear my voice, I'm like, I really sound like that. Like, it just freaked me out to hear my voice. Also, see me as like, I just can't sound that way. I guess a good question in the audience today is maybe to ask yourself, when did I stop playing? And why do I feel that is? Why do I not, have I not played? I think that could be a good question for people to ask today.
Yeah. No, I love that.
How can people, go ahead.
I was just going to give 2 ideas of tips of how you could play. You could loosen yourself up to play a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. One that really helped me was singing in the shower. I started out in a private space because it's easier. especially when you're not used to like loosening up and being silly. So singing and dancing in the shower, that's where I started, or in my car, or with my kids. So, when things get highly stressful, sometimes I'll just stop everything. Okay, everybody, we're dancing. Turn on the music. We all dance. And so singing and dancing, moving your body, allowing yourself to loosen up physically, can be so helpful. Plus using your voice in a way, singing at the top of your lungs is so good, especially for us as women. We're generationally carrying a lot of stuff about using our voices and our voices being muted. And so regularly using that and working through those blocks, that can help with that. So those are my suggestions, is those of you who realize today that you haven't allowed yourself to play, do those things for yourself. Start out in private. Dance like no one's watching and sing at the top of your lungs your most favorite songs. And if you don't know them, look up words. Learn some songs.
I just recently learned, this is not my wisdom. Somebody taught me this. I learned, though, it's ironic because you talked about dancing. When things start to get a little stressed or tough, you stop to dance. I recently learned about how the gazelle, when being chased by the cheetah, when the chase is over, it naturally shakes,
Yeah.
and then we'll go back to eating. Even though the cheetah's still kind of in the distance, it's still in view, but because it's wore out, the gazelle doesn't keep running, it shakes, goes back to eating. So they're like, why is that? And they started looking at other animals. A lot of animals would shake after some type of traumatic event. So they found out the science behind that is that it's literally like energetically getting the heaviness out of your body.
Yes.
So if you shimmy or dance and then come back to it, it's a total different
reset
mood. It's a total, it's like, wait, what? You know what I mean? So then I thought, that's so powerful. So not only do I keep talking about it and people are like, we shut up already, but you just, everywhere I go, I'm just like shimmying all the time.
Shimmy it off. Yeah.
So,
shake it off.
People are like,
I love it. I love it. So good.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yes, I love it. Me too. Me and you.
How can people find you right now? If they were interested in just reading some of the stuff you put out there or to work with you, where would they go?
So innerworldmovement.com is the place to get a hold of me. I have a coaching page on there. I have our other co-founders and information about them on there. And we also are posting all of our podcasts on there. So you can also follow us on Instagram. I'm at innerworld.dana. And then Inner World Movement has its own Instagram, and there's lots of great videos and things happening on there right now. And so those are great places to get a hold of us and to check us out right now.
Gotcha. So you work with kind of like a collective, like a group for like an organization type thing, or okay.
Yeah, so we have 3 other co-founders.
Wow.
Right now. Yeah. Yep. For Inner World Movement. It's been fun, and all of us have our amazing strengths, and we're a great team, and I've loved what's happened and what's being created. And to me, that's my whole goal in Inner World Movement is I want to create a space where voices can be heard and people can fulfill their mission and purpose. This isn't just about me. It's not about me rising and doing what I'm here to do. It's about doing it, creating it so other people can too. And I'm a huge advocate of synergy, that we're all here to work together. And I think it's really, really important that we all step into that. You and I, we're doing this work together. This is why I love doing these podcasts, because it feels so amazing that I'm playing my little part and you're playing yours. And it's fabulous, and I can support you and you support me, and we energetically make a difference in the world, and synergistically when we come together you become unstoppable. And so I'm a huge advocate of that co-creation, collaboration.
Yeah, I agree. It's powerful. Connection is powerful. Being able to have that support system. We go farther in life when we go on the journey with other people instead of trying to make everything a one-man show. And I recently been looking where I do that in my own coaching. I was looking, where am I coming from mentality of a one-man show? And I found a place. I had a group, and I wasn't really inviting other coaches to speak more in it. And so that I found that, and I was like, we're going to change this. So then I posted, would any other coaches like to do live videos or speak? And then there was just a great turnout of people like me. So,
wow.
I
That's
think like,
beautiful.
yeah,
I love
now,
that, Leslie.
yeah, the
I'm going to
group
take
has
that and I'm going to use that in my business. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, I was just thinking, about value, and I know that I give value, but is there a way for these, for the followers to get even more? And that became my focus. I want them to be able to have more without it always being something I have to be involved in. And I'm really glad I did, because so much more information from different perspectives and energies, like we all have our own signature, our own. Right. So even if 10 people do the same thing, our signature energy is what creates these difference, the difference in it. And they're all powerful.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. I agree. I love it. I love it.
I can tag your information so that people can just go straight to that website. But I am so thankful for you coming on here today.
Thank you. Thank you. Me too. I feel so honored to be a part, and thank you for what you're doing to make a difference in this world and to share your light and to share your story. You've been one of the most refreshing experiences in the podcast so far for me, because you're so real. And that's something I really appreciate about you, that I think is magnificent, that we can all learn from, is we're all real people. Even though we have this wisdom and this amazing coaching and things that we're doing, we're still real. And it's important. It's so important to stay humble in that reality, so that people can know that they're not alone, that we're not separate from them. We're all the same. We're all struggling with their different things. And I really appreciate that about you a lot. Thank you.
Great. All right. I will be in touch soon. I hope you have a beautiful day.
You too. Thank you so much, Leslie. Talk to you soon.
Bye.